Today, we go out of bounds. Nitrous oxide burning racing machines are rocket launched in a sea of mud. We'll find out which daredevil racers can hold the horsepower. Prepare for liftoff. It's mud racing action from Panama City, Florida. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the all-stars of NMRO mud racing. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. We're in the panhandle of Florida for the National Mud Racing Organization's All-Star Nationals. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee alongside Rich Hooser.
And, Gary, we are about 10 miles outside of Panama City in Bayou, George, Florida. Now, the Bayou, George Jaycees have been putting on this event for the past 10 years. It's a great event, but these guys down here have been running in the mud back in these woods for a long time before that.
We'll be joined momentarily by Army Armstrong when we come back to Bayou, George in northern Florida. Bayou, George, Florida, the open class with the paddle tires.
And, Gary, the paddle tires here, one of the names they call them are bigger diggers, of course, because they dig through this pit right here. This pit is 200 feet long and 30 feet wide. It ranges between 12 and 15 inches from the beginning to the end, and it has 570 feet of shutdown area, and these guys are going to use every foot of that, Gary.
And here's our first competitor, Shane Back. This is the Attitude Adjuster out of Jeffersonville, Kentucky. By profession, Shane is an auto dealer, says mud racing is his hobby. Well, it's an avocation here this afternoon. He stares down 200 feet of mud, and look at the launch.
Well, Gary, he got a little too much traction at the starting line, and that's going to hurt. A 4.167, not a good run. Twice as fast as what these other guys are going to be running. But look, you can see all the sand being kicked up by them rear tires. That shows what kind of traction these guys get off that starting line. Now, they run a 4-link suspension in the rear of these vehicles, and they can control a lot of that. But as you can see here, this is the first guy off, and he's not sure what this track's going to do to him today, but he doesn't do real good.
Well, he almost goes out of bounds. You can see the abuse he's taking in the cockpit as Shane Back is the first down. Now we take a look at the Mud Buster. And this is Joe Ganser out of Vero Beach, Florida. A big Chevy 377 cubic inch power plant. Some minor adjustments being made right now at the starting line.
Yeah, they're working on his nitrous system there. As you can see, they're bleeding it off there, so there's no air in there, so he gets all that fluid, which he's going to need to have a good time. But 4.167 is the time to beat, and I think he can do it.
Shouldn't be that difficult for the Mud Buster. And he does it. He does it. 3.078.
Now, that's pretty good considering this guy stepped up a class. He used to run 2-wheel drives, Gary, and he had put an axle underneath the front of this vehicle to run with the 4-wheel drive class. He just didn't have any competition in 2-wheel drive.
Well, he holds a 2-wheel drive open national record as we look now at a 1988 Jeep Funny Car, and this is Wes Newman. Wes out of the state of Illinois, driving the Need for Speed entry. Time to beat again is 3.078. Little fiberglass damage there on the left side of the cockpit. Look at the launch, look at the air, what a spectacular ride.
And he did a great job of keeping it under control. Now, you don't want to let that front end come down too hard or you're going to have a lot of damage. Let's go down to Army.
Okay, a 325 with a big wheelie. Now, what's causing the wheelie? Chassis, bite, or grip, or what?
I think it's the bite of the mud out there. It's really hooking hard. I don't know. This is the first time I ever ran down south like this, and the mud's different down here. I've never hooked like that before. I think it's the mud.
Well, southern mud as opposed to the mud from Illinois where he is from, but here's a guy that's come all the way across the country, Wayne Schott from Clovis, California, the Untouchable, featuring a Keith Black 500 cubic inch Chevrolet power plant. He needs to beat a 3.078. His occupation, he's a full-time mud racer. He's here to win some money and put some bread on the table. Good ride. 2.757. He did it.
He's in the lead right now with an excellent run. Look at his launch. Now, you can tell he's run here before because that front end stays on the ground, and it's a nice straight pass.
Coming at you once again, this is the Untouchable out of Clovis, California. As it looks like the starting line area is beginning to dry out. And as the fans enjoy some liquid refreshment, they won't dry out on a hot, humid day here in northern Florida. The competition continues from Holland, Michigan. This is Rick Keel in Destroyer 3.
Now, Rick has the vehicle here that is the fastest one in NMRO history. His record at 2.6, and now his time to beat right now is at 2.7. So let's see if he can uphold that, Gary.
A good run. Let's see. No, not fast enough. 2.826. That is not quick enough.
Well, he doesn't better his record, but he still had a pretty good run. But like I said, it's not fast enough. Now, what had happened here, he seemed like he got good traction, but his front end was bouncing around a little bit. He had to fight the steering, a little bit of ruts out there to deal with, and that could have slowed him down. Now, you look at him, he's coming right at you. You see the rooster tails and the engine just blowing the smoke by, but look at the front tires. They're not muddy at all, and he's having a hard time steering it.
A good look here at Stefan Price, the driver out of Meridian, Mississippi, in what looks to be a modified pickup truck with Chevrolet power. The Great Grand Mutter is the name of this vehicle. Once again, the time to beat is at 2.757. Not fast enough, 2.9, but a personal best for Price, his first time under 3 seconds.
And they have what they call the 2-second club, Gary. Anybody that gets under 3 seconds that's in the 2-second club is considered doing a great job.
We got all the nitrous you need.
All right.
2.99 seconds.
Well, they're happy, and that guy congratulating them from Club Nitrous, who helped them get that 2.9-second run.
And here is the 1964 Corvette funny car, the Mud Shark, with the big 525 cubic inch Keith Black Hemi. This is Mike Erdely out of Buchanan, Michigan. Once again, a 2.757, the time to beat. He fought that one all the way down, but could only muster a 2.8.
It seems like if you were at the beginning, you had a good slot here. As you can see, his front end's up a little bit, and he's not getting any traction. Then again, he can't steer it when it's up in the air like that either, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. Watch, coming right at you here. As you can see the front end come up, and he starts to go off to the side a little bit, and then he compensates it by turning to the left, but a little too much, and it costs him time. And Army's down here with Mike right now.
People don't realize that mud tracks change just like any other kind of racing surface, don't they? This is not the same mud, basically, as when the class started. You ran on a different track's what I'm saying, than some guys.
No doubt, it's totally different. This is like comparing a drag strip starting line to the street. They change so much. There's that much variation.
And now we look at what could be the most expensive rig here. From Tyler, Texas, this is George Gregory in the new breed. A janky 496 cubic inch engine. The cost of this racer, upwards of $75,000. He's a guy that could beat that 2.757 time turned in earlier. He does it. He does it. A new track record at 2.657.
Gary, it was a picture-perfect run, start to finish. He got good traction. He was over to the right side a little bit, but he stayed in it the whole time. There's his crewman, Rick, coming over to congratulate him right now. Now watch this. As you can see, he gets over to the right side a little bit, but he doesn't let out of it. He just steers it a little bit to the left and gets that good run.
Rick, come here a minute. We've been hearing a lot about you when we get into this thing. A lot of credit for the success of this team comes to you, but it doesn't come easy, does it? You've been working awfully hard.
No, I can't take all the credit. George does help out, and he is, pretty smart and gives a young boy like me a chance to throw him some wild ideas when we try it, put it together, and sometimes it comes out like it did today.
And speaking of young boys, here's a future driver getting some work in the mud. We're coming right back. Stay with us. With Rich Hooser and Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee here at Bayou, George, Florida. George Gregory with that run of the new breed at 2.6 leads Wayne Schott in the Untouchable and Rick Keel in Destroyer 3. And coming up is the driver the fans have been waiting for from nearby Panama City, Florida, a youngster, Scott Cluxton in Rattler 1. He's a student. Says he enjoys racing in the mud and fishing. The time to beat is 2.675. A bit of hesitation there at the starting line before he nails the hammer. A 2.975, good enough for the 2-second club, but not quick enough to knock the new breed from the top spot.
And he's got to be pretty happy with that, just because that's his first time ever being in the 2-second club. As you can see, he had a pretty good run, just lacking just a little bit of horsepower, I think, because everything seemed to work pretty good.
Now a good look at Mike Thomas out of Grovetown, Georgia, in the Heartbeat of America 1, a Chevrolet, 615 cubic inches. Look at the wheelie, a good fast run, but not fast enough.
And he had a good run, but he lost some time because he actually tripped the lights at the finish line with his rear tires. Army's standing by right now with him.
Okay, it looked like a wild ride, but that's the way you drive these rascals. That's what you're famous for.
Yeah, you got to go all the way with it if you want to get in top position. Yeah, the car makes power going all the way through, and the track done dried out in the day, and it got a little high with me, but, you know, with Sonny's automotive motor and Compy Car nitrous and all, you just got to do that sometimes to win first.
And here's the teammate to Scott Cluxton, the Rattler 2 from right here in Panama City, Florida. This is Bucky Dillard with Chevrolet power, 427 cubic inches. So the fans once again have someone local to cheer for here at Bayou, George. The time to beat again, 2.675. Oh, and he gets in big trouble early. Takes a mud bath, does complete the run. He won't be happy at all. 6.220.
No, not happy at all. Watch what happens here. He gets a lot of traction. He lets off too much. See how his front end came way down? Then his back tires just hit a rut, and you just bouncing on through it. And he had to really put the pedal down to get out of the mud pit.
Well, he took quite a jarring right here. He lets out of it. The front dips, the rear end jumps up in the air, and look at the abuse that Bucky Dillard takes in the cockpit. Almost gets out of bounds.
He was looking at that, and I think that's why he let off so quickly, because he was heading for that out-of-bounds marker.
Bucky fought the mud pit, and as you can see, the mud won. Well, here is the Heartbeat of America 2, another Chevy, 615 cubic inches. This is Enos Thomas, part of the father-son racing team. We saw Mike, his son, earlier from Grovetown, Georgia. And once again, a big wheelie, and he way off the course. Look out down there. Where's he going?
He's way out of bounds down there, Gary, but everything's okay. Nobody was in the area except a couple of vehicles, which he didn't hit either one of them. Just kind of spun out in the mud.
Talk about parallel parking.
Yeah, he lost it from the beginning. Everybody seems to be hooking up like this now. The track is really starting to dry out. As you can see, when he came back down, he was a little out of control. But with all that shutdown area, he just kind of rides it out. You don't want to hit the brakes right here or you end up on your roof. So he sees an idea here to get over here into this mud and stay away from any people.
He almost bought himself a pickup truck. Well, the Heartbeat of America stopped a few hearts down here in the shutoff area. He's coming right at you, and he gets in trouble right here and heads off the shutoff lane down through a parking paddock area and slides to a stop between a couple of pickup trucks. Rich, what's Enos got to say?
Okay, you stayed in it, and you were looking pretty good, but as soon as you got out here, you kept under control, and you didn't hit anybody out here, which was good. Did you know that was going to happen? Did you steer over this way?
Well, the car got sideways and headed this way, and I seen those trucks, and I just went ahead and tried to put it in a spin and hit the kill switch, and she got it stopped.
All right, well, you did a good job, and good luck next time.
Thank you.
And here's a good look at Chad Miller. He is strapped in the cockpit of Instant T out of Vandalia, Ohio, up near Dayton, Ohio. This is a 27 Roadster with a 509 cubic inch row deck power plant. Once again, the time to beat is a 2.675. Flips the visor down, brings the RPMs up, and nails the hammer. Oh, wild ride, hang on, he almost goes over.
And Gary, he's been on his head before, so I'm sure that was going through his mind, but he is disqualified for going out of bounds. And not only did he go out of bounds, he wiped out the timing mechanism down at the end of the track on which they time these guys. You'll be able to see it here. There's the starting lights, and there's the finish lights right behind them hay bales. As you can see, one of the officials going over to check out the equipment. They'll have it back together real quick. As we take another look at it, everybody seems to be hooking up with the rear tires a little too tight today, and he takes a rough ride, and I'm sure he was thinking right there, oh my gosh, I'm not going over, so he nails it and heads on out of bounds.
Well, the adrenaline is still pumping. I'm sure he's had a chance to collect his thoughts. Chad's down with Army.
Instant T. Instant T stand for instant trouble.
Yeah, sometimes it does. It's kind of hard to keep us on four wheels this weekend, it seems like.
When you guys leave the starting line, you've got your war paint on and blood in your eyes. There's only one way to drive this type of a mud vehicle, and that's just full kill.
Yeah, I was really trying to be really a bit too aggressive off the line. I really brought it up on the stall on the clutch and really hammered her hard to try to leave the line just to, you know, get some more ET out of it, and I was probably a little bit too aggressive with it.
Sometimes you can't be too aggressive in motorsports. The Tomcat coming up next. This is a husband and wife team. Tommy Gilder is driving the Tomcat out of Glenwood, Georgia. His wife Vicki also runs on occasion. And again, the time to beat that 2.6-second run. Well, he keeps it straight, but not nearly fast enough at 3.451.
He's got a little problems with his engine down here. He had a little smoke coming out that right side. I'm not sure if he's got big problems, but he will be getting towed off of the track because the engine is not running right now. A little bit of smoke coming out. I think it just was a little bit of oil, but hey, no sense in taking a chance of blowing the motor if you don't have to. As you can see here, he's not having a good run. He's all over the track, and it's costing him time. And then right there, as you see the smoke come out, that's when I think the oil just got off on the exhaust. And here from a head-on shot, you can see he's all over this track, just going back and forth, and you can see the motor went right there, and all the oil coming out that right side header. Now he shuts it off, he hits the kill switch, he gets unbuckled. No telling if there's going to be a fire or not.
Take a look now at Steve DeLue in Bodacious out of Holland, Michigan. He is a retail lumber dealer by profession. On the weekends, he drives Bodacious, powered by a 510 cubic inch Chevrolet. The head sock on there to protect the face in case of a fire. There's a good look at the power plant. And Bodacious needs to beat that 2.6-second run. A good fast ride, but not fast enough. 2.750, but a good run.
It was real good. It was real close to the same type of run that New Breed ran, who is in the lead right now, but not quite fast enough. It seemed that he's lacking a little bit of horsepower. Of course, janky engine in New Breed says it all right there, but you can tell he's having a pretty good run, just nice and straight and no problems at all.
Well, here's a future mudder right here, getting ready. Wave to the camera. We're coming back. Stay with us. A hot, humid, and muddy afternoon in northern Florida, and here is a repeat of the run that everyone is trying to best. George Gregory, the New Breed, with a new track record, 2.67. He leads it. Steve DeLue is second in Bodacious at 2.75, and Mike Thomas, the Heartbeat of America, won at 2.751. And now we take a look at Buster Smith out of Marietta, Georgia. This is the Mud Muscle, a 1927 Peyton Roadster with a 550 cubic inch big block Chevrolet.
And again, Gary, he carries his front end all the way down the track, but not a bad run, 2.8 seconds. But watch this, he gets a good launch and it starts to come down, but he carries it throughout the whole length of the track. Unbelievable.
Coming right at you now, take a look at the launch, and he's in trouble right there.
He's pretty lucky at keeping that vehicle in bounds the way he was shooting off to that left-hand side.
Well, here's Tony Yanis in the Dream Chaser. This is a 1931 Chevy Coupe with a Chevy Rodak power plant. And once again, that time to beat, 2.675. The time is 2.691, a good ride, but just a tad shy.
And it looks like New Breed will win this one today. Of course, you see the Dream Chaser here, a good run, but not quite good enough. As you see him coming right at you. Now, he stays pretty well in the center of the track, off to the left a little bit, but he stays in it, but just not enough horsepower.
So not quite enough to overhaul George Gregory. He takes the victory in New Breed. Tony Yanis second in the Dream Chaser. And third is Steve DeLue in Bodacious. And fourth, Mike Thomas, the Heartbeat of America. Wayne Schott, the Untouchable, fifth, and sixth, Buster Smith and Mud Muscle. Now here's Army with our winner.
What a motorsporting event. For the first time ever, even to be in the top 5, you had to be under 3 seconds. Congratulations. You had to work for this one, didn't you?
You bet. It's been a long, hard series.
Yeah, but you guys, you come prepared for this series. You got good equipment, you got a good crew and everything. You're serious about winning a world championship in this sport again, aren't you?
definitely serious. We got good motor. Jerry Janke builds our motor. Crew chief Rick Bale's done a super job. We adjusted it. The car, we tried to read the track right. We done most things right today, and we've been very consistent all year.
Well, congratulations to George and the crew of the New Breed. That will wrap things up here in northern Florida for Rich Hooser and Army Armstrong. I'm Gary Lee. Thanks for joining us. So long from Bayou George. And now here's word about a new exciting video from Diamond P.